I want to be great.
The way we do events is just sick. The way you put everything for us in terms of venue, activities and everything. Honestly, I've never seen that.
Who was influenced to start a marketing agency at some point because of Iman Gadzhi?
We have recently rolled out the wall plaques.
Wow.
I have been spending the first portion of this year office shopping. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first sort of more business-focused vlog that we do here on the main channel. If any of you guys watch our unscripted channel, you know that we show maybe 5% of our life on there when we're having fun and, laying our hair down and enjoying life as you should do when you work hard. But on this channel, we mainly do more business-focused vlogs and share what's been going on work-wise, and hopefully it's of value to you. And I think today's vlog, especially if you stick around until the end, there's some incredibly valuable information from a couple of my friends that have companies worth 300-400 million, all the way up to one of my friends who sold his business for just shy of $1 billion. But before we get into that, I have been spending the first portion of this year office shopping. Now, it feels like this has been a big Goldilocks situation. The first space that we looked at wasn't really even an office, it was a headquarters. I think it was like 29,000 or like 35,000 square feet. We would have had enough space to do events with like 2,000 people, 3,000 people inside. There was a huge wall that we thought we could use for online presentations and online events. It was just very big. Now, I was also out from the financial center here in Dubai, so not the best location. And funnily enough, I made an offer on it. We went back and forth for a couple weeks, and they just wanted a price that I just wasn't willing to pay. And looking back, I'm kind of happy. I did kind of look at it, I was like, this is so insane. Like, there's just so much we could do here. But I think just being realistic with what we need this office for, consulting.com, we're about 65 people full-time now. And we have an international team, people in Europe, people in America, people in South America, kind of all over the place. So we actually went and saw that first headquarters. I thought about calling it like consulting campus. Made an offer, that didn't work out. Then we went and saw a few other offices, more in the financial district here in Dubai. There's a bunch of clips, so I'll leave that over the top. And then ended up finding one specific location. It is so nice, I swear to God. For those of you that aren't in Dubai, this won't mean anything, but it's like smack bang in the middle of DIFC, the financial district. And not only that, but it's right opposite like the center of DIFC, right opposite Arts Club. It's in the same building as Waldorf, so it's just like there's a lot of amenities there. And I know this sounds stupid, but even just small things like knowing that I have a place to park my car like right in the front of the building. I don't want to go down into the basement. Once again, I know this stuff sounds stupid, but like when you're spending so much on an office space, you want to remove as much friction as possible and just have it as like a positive, like a place you really enjoy spending time. Stuff like frosted glass, we can...
No issue. Yeah,
no issues?
Absolutely. Yeah, so if you need that privacy, yeah, you can do that for sure.
I mean, I want the like thing of you can see the offices, big or consulting sign, but yeah, I also want it when we need privacy.
Yeah, absolutely. As mentioned, the main distinction is that floating space there. It's just been kind of consumed. So, it's a more efficient layout, as they both are.
So this layout's more efficient.
Yes, because you haven't got that, unused area. Yeah.
Any more thoughts on which one's better to take?
I like the other one.
You like the other one?
Yeah.
Because more blank space?
Yeah.
And then
and the entrance, bro, it just makes it makes all the difference.
The lobby is more grand for sure. It's just a question of what to do in this area.
I think it's nice to have a bit of space, because if you got C stands and lights that you're gonna move around.
Yeah, so we were thinking like we've got some clients that are, we have our enterprise clients, those we see in person, our mid-market clients. Maybe we can invite them to office sometimes, like a small group, 20 people. So you could just do here, and then presentation board here. And then we'll get studio displays. So we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or potentially we figure out what we do with the space, but 4, 8, 9, and then yeah, we can move it. Finwin. Yeah. Maxine, what do you want your desk to be?
No.
And that's why I ended up making an offer on the office. It's on the smaller side for us. It's only about 1,500 square feet, so capacity about 25 in office. But for us, considering a large portion of our team is still remote, it works. And honestly, as I said, the location for me and the infrastructure around the office, like, you know, you go to a lot of offices, and that's even what I had with some of the other ones, and it's just like, it just feels dreary and there's nothing really around, and yeah, everything just works at this place. So made an offer, they countered, we countered that, then they countered back. And as of today, actually, we have come to an agreement. So it's gonna take another 1 or 2 months in terms of paperwork. And there's a lot of minutia and detail in terms of actually having an office in DIFC, like specifically that jurisdiction. So yeah, that's the update. That is the consulting.com office here in Dubai. I'm super excited for any of our consulting.com clients, whether it's our quantum clients or up-level clients, even some of our monetized clients. You know, I really just wanna make the office a place where I can meet with clients as much as humanly possible, even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes. I just really enjoy being face-to-face with our clients, getting feedback, hearing from them, learning how we can do better. Whenever I speak to our clients, it doesn't matter, as I said, whether it's our enterprise clients at Quantum or it's the people at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey inside of Monetize. I always ask the question, which is like, hey, if you could snap your finger and add anything into our service, what would that be? And sometimes it's a little too much. And even if it's not realistic, it just gets my mind thinking. And in general, I think we don't do a good enough job at showing like how much we give a shit about our clients and how much we take care of our clients. Yeah, I mean, even consultant.com, the business has been around for 10 years. I bought the business in its entirety last year. So I've officially bought consulting.com, and I took all of the intellectual property that people paid $80 million for, and I gave it to all of my customers for free, going back all the way to 2018. I could have made money on it like the previous owner, I could have charged, but like, we have been in this industry for so long because we have consistently year after year after year over delivered. And the thing we are worst at is actually showcasing that. We spend so much time focusing on our clients, and I do think in 2026 we need to do a bit better job at kind of showcasing what we actually do and the results people get. You know, moving on to the next portion of this video, I just came back from an event, Eddie Malouf's event. I've never spoken at an event in my life, even though I've been offered crazy sums of money. And I think that's just because at a lot of events I can't really speak my mind, because honestly a lot of what I think is not very politically correct. A lot of it is, how do I say this? I have a lot of my friends where we have private conversations, and then I see what they say when they're in public or on stage, and it's actually literally the complete opposite to our conversations. And I'm just like, I get it, sometimes you have to be politically correct, or you have to like maybe say stuff that sounds a little nicer, but like, I don't know, it just feels very like inauthentic to me. But Eddie is an incredible gentleman, and more importantly, at WAP this year, we have been whipping. Like, WAP is on a generational run. Like, it is insane. And of course, we have our offices in New York. You guys must have seen that in the last video, some of the most beautiful offices you've seen in your entire life. But one of the reasons I even want to get our consulting.com office is because I also want to have an open door policy for some of our top merchants, our top WAP merchants. The Middle East is actually a very large market for us here at WAP. And that's why I was there at Eddie's event, basically educate some people in the room about our entire payments infrastructure at WAP, because we truly are the best in the world at it. And yeah, it was an incredible experience, especially towards the end. It was super cool to see, because out of 220 or 250 people in the room, I would say about probably half the people in that room, and bear in mind, the people in that room are all making minimum $50,000 a month. Some people in there making $500,000 a month, $800,000 a month. Some people were even coming up to me and talking to me and showing me their business making $1 million a month. I am not joking, half of them, like at least half of them have been through our programs.
Who was influenced to start a marketing agency at some point because of Iman Gadzhi? Raise your hand. It's like a third of the room, maybe more, half of the room. It's crazy how much influence this guy has had on so many people in this room. And the crazy part to me is like, everything I literally just talked about in my presentation, this guy's practically paving the way for it, right? He's making 9-10-figure moves, and it all started at one point from an agency.
And especially the ones who had been through CPA or Apex, which was our mid-level program for agency owners, I've watched their business grow over time. So it was just like, yeah, that was incredible to see, and it just made me so happy. And it reminded me of like how much impact we've had over the years. I don't think my team and myself, to be honest, sometimes give ourselves enough credit for just how many people we have gotten into online entrepreneurship, for how many people not only have we gotten into online entrepreneurship, but then have seen the levels that we've taken it to and gone, wow, let me think bigger.
What's the plan today?
We are talking to a room full of high-level agency owners and business owners about our infrastructure, payments infrastructure at WAP. Well, I guess that'll be general life businessy stuff. Right now at WAP, trailing L30, I think we're 244 million. The last 30 days, Jan, we ended off at 240. NRR is at 140%. So basically, long story short, we're fucking crushing it. And yeah, it's cool. We're tapping into like a bunch of new pockets now as well. Like even at Hills, we start processing on WAP. So yeah, no more Shopify payments. We're processing everything on WAP. I have a bunch of my friends that run massive software companies, service businesses, stuff like that. They're all moving over to WAP. So some of the big platforms, partners that we brought on board have been insane. So yeah, things are pumping. I don't think people understand, like, when you're trying to build a unicorn company, for the founders, like, your life fucking sucks. Like, just being honest, like, your life sucks. You can't take vacations when you want to take vacations because you have investors, and having investors, like, at the end of the day is having people that you have to respond to and a boss. And like, I literally had a call 2 days ago with a company. We have a office in New York. I'm the largest shareholder in that company. And like, I'm a relatively nice guy, but even me, like, I'm feel a certain way if he just came back from a 1 week vacation, which is like fucked. But like, of course, when I have in that business, I've got more than 8 figures in equity, multiple 8 figures in equity. So of course, this is like, I have quite a large vested interest in this. So to me, it's just like, I don't want that headache. So I don't want to be the founder of a $1 billion company. I realize that. And I want to stay in the lane that I feel I'm best at. I've happened to, for some way, shape, form, or fashion, become the #1 expert in the world when it comes to info knowledge businesses, because 9 years ago, I had my first client that was info business, and then I didn't realize that would then snowball into like that being my niche in that market. And then of course, launching my own info businesses, and then from there, consulting people. And then of course, ending up owning a large stake in pretty much the infrastructure there for this industry. So very long-winded way to say that there's many ways to skin a cat. I think you just need to find what works for you. People spend so much time in their life thinking about what they want. I really think people don't spend enough time thinking about what they don't want. And for example, for me, like, I like the location freedom of, I had a couple homes around the world. But like, the thing is with consulting.com is different. Yeah, sure, I'd have like a fuck off insane office now, and literally the #1 top property in Dubai, but I don't have investors that are gonna go, okay, cool, why are you spending 3 months in London? So yeah, that's long story short.
So you obviously had a successful agency. Even Sean said that he was actually one of your clients at some point, which is pretty cool to see.
Whatever your competitive advantages, lean into that. And I know it sounds exciting to go start an electrolytes company or start a this, that, or blah, or this software thing or what, but like whatever your competitive advantages, just lean into that and keep your hobbies your hobbies.
Oh, that was intense, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That was busy.
Good. No, shout out to Eddie. Put on a great event. Absolutely fucked me at the end. But bro, I didn't know what to say. I was ballsy. Well,
We're asking for fees discounts.
yeah. But bro, it's like, it's not, here's the tricky thing. The tricky thing is like WAP is like the equivalent of going to like a private bank. You know what I mean? Like it's very dependent on how much are you processing. It's very dependent on like where your corporate structure is. Like there's just so many factors that play into it. So of course, we have to give
Favorable terms.
yeah, we have to we give custom quote, like we deal with large enterprise business. I mean, listen, we deal with sliding scale, but in this case, we're not giving like out the box set rates. Like we're dealing with so many, like we have to look at so many parts of your business. Even like, are you a high risk merchant? What's your dispute rate? What's your auth rate? Like there's so many factors that go into this. So for me to just say like one number, that's what scared me actually. It's not actually about like giving people favorable rates and whatnot. It was more just like, yeah, the fact that it's like a blanket statement. But shout out to Eddie. I think everyone made a lot of money by coming to this event just from that alone.
Everyone backstage was like, Iman doesn't ever do this, does he?
That was the first talk I've ever done in my life. I don't like talks, but I wouldn't talk on behalf of, because the way I viewed it, I'm speaking as WAP. Like I didn't view that as a me talk. So that's the only reason why I would do it.
Nice. We did well.
I didn't feel like I did well. You know what?
Why?
I feel like I'm too honest sometimes. That's as well why I struggle with public, not struggle, but like why I avoid talks in general. Because sometimes I watch people doing talks and I'm like, you don't believe a single fucking word you're saying. You're just saying this because you think this sounds nice. When they're like so what do you think truly makes a good culture? And they're like, you need a mission bigger than yourself. And I'm just like, fuck off. No, you don't. Like your company needs to believe you can change the world. I'm like, that's not true. Like, so I don't know. It's just like, I see a lot of people give talks and I'm just, I especially people I know. That's the worst, when it's people I know and I know what they actually think. And I look at their talks and I'm just like, bro, you're chatting so much shit. So, yeah, I think that's why I'll probably will never be the best
Guest speaker. Or public
guest speaker because I just say my mind, bro.
No, I think that's what people like.
I say my mind and I'll like ramble. So I don't know if it's too specific sometimes.
Nah, I think it was good. I think you're overthinking it.
All right. So yeah, that was an incredible event. Speaking of WAP, by the way, if you see that over there, we have recently rolled out the WAP plaque. So that is the $10 million plaque. We have a $1 million plaque and a $10 million plaque. We are still deciding what to do for the $100 million plaque. So if you made more than $1 million or more than $10 million on platform, please reach out to your account manager and we will send that out to you entirely for free, free of charge. We won't charge you like some of these other platforms. It is our gift to you. And I can tell you, I don't know if that comes across on camera. That thing is heavy and that thing is big. Oh. Oh, this thing is fucking massive. Bro, what the? Bro, what the?
Pretty well packaged, bro.
Yeah, it is. Wow. Very well packaged.
How great this unboxing.
Huh?
You shouldn't start an unboxing job.
No, clearly not. This is not my forte. Wait, so we must be the first ones to have it? Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Self-framing.
Cheese lock. Oh. Oh. Wow. Bro, how are we meant to hang this? Wow.
That's beautiful.
Wow. That's crazy. This is very nice. Bro, that's heavy. So that's the update. We had the consultant.com office, we had the event, the new WAP plaques, and now let me take you back a couple months to our quantum mastermind. So at consultant.com, we have monetized, which we open up 2 to 3 times a year, and that's where we help people start and scale their online business. We actually just rolled out up level, and this is for the folks who are trying to get to 30, 40, 50,000 a month with their online business. And then we have quantum, and these are really our enterprise clients. There's a very strong link between our quantum clients. Now quantum on the absolute like lowest end, it'll be 50K a month, but most of the people in there are making 3, 4, 500,000 a month. We have some people in there making $5 million a month even, but pretty much every single person inside of quantum also ends up then processing on WAP. So yeah, that's kind of like our enterprise division. So 2 or 3 times a year for quantum, I'll spend anywhere from on the low end $200,000 all the way up to $400,000. I'll privatize the craziest hotels and the craziest locations around the world. So every single room, every suite, the entire grounds is ours for 3 days. I'll invite my own personal friends, not like paid guest speakers or whatever, like personal friends of mine that stay on site with us. Like this time we had my friend Shaw, who's the co-founder of Loom, sold for $975 million. He was there with us for 3 days on site. We also had my friend Guillaume, who scaled Lemlist bootstrapped from 0 to 45 million a year ARR. So with Quantum, we basically just get a bunch of very wealthy people together. We share lessons, we build incredible memories, we have a lot of fun. And yeah, it's not your typical sort of like business event. Like everyone's guards are down. We're all staying in these incredible locations and beautiful rooms, beautiful suites. And yeah, we end up having a lot of late nights as well. So I'll roll into a bit of what that looks like.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away.
Today we'll have a chat first, so you're actually first session.
Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
I love this place. If we weren't based in Dubai, like the combination between London and Cape Town is perfect. So you have Paris and Cape Town.
Yeah.
It's just, I really want to get a place here again.
Yeah.
I really want.
I think Steven Bartlett got something in Constantia or.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I remember the place we went in Constantia, like with the tennis court. And,
we're going back there.
Yeah. It was pretty nice, huh?
That was nice. No, but I don't think it ever makes sense to buy.
Yeah.
But I would get a rental all year round.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because a lot of times the amount of money you're spending in 2-3 months in high season, you might as well just get a place all year round.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's tough.
It's cool.
It was fucking sick, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
the session about?
We had my dear friend Guillaume come talk about how he scaled to 45 million ARR, entirely bootstrapped. And I know a lot of people in our industry want to get into software. So I thought I'd bring Guillaume, who did bootstrapped to a $250 million company, and then Shahed, who did non-bootstrapped to a $1 billion company. And they can get both sides of the equation and see when it makes sense, when it doesn't make sense. And yeah, and a lot of investment stuff as well. He's made a lot of investments and done very well in terms of strategic purchases that kind of fit into the whole Lempire ecosystem. So, yeah.
How do you think first day has gone so far?
Poes lekker.
Who's lekker? Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
So we got 10 beers on that side, 10 beers on this side. We're going to start off on that end. When that first drink gets down by the first participant, the next guy starts. When that gets down, the next guy goes. 3, 2, 1, Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now moving on to the karaoke part of the night. So
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone.
So I just want to say something real quick about how we structure our quantum events. Every single time we do quantum, in fact, I'll overlay some of the stuff now. The first night, even in London, we always try to do something where people let their hair down. And what I mean by that is, like, last time we went to some dingy pub, this time we went to like some dingy bar. Because we're staying at such luxurious and glamorous locations, and the second night and the rest of the event, like, everything's prim and proper. We usually second night we'll do a black tie event. I find that when you go to these business events or these masterminds, people really just want to like let their guard down and just have fun. And you know, like the first day, there's always that feeling of like, I don't know, like people still have a little bit of their walls up. So that's why the first day, even the environment, I want it to be like kind of like almost a bit shitty and run down. We want something more like run down.
Rundown.
Rowdy. Not run down, but like.
No, I get you. You
We don't
want
want
pub
to make
feeling,
Yeah.
nothing fancy. Look, Copset Browse is nothing fancy. It's nothing against them, but commercial. But it's a lekker place. Nice vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lekker. So that's why it's actually on purpose. We go to kind of more like rundown bars or rundown pub or like something where, like, even this time we did karaoke, and it's just when you have that kind of feeling on the first day after we've done the day's presentation and everyone's thinking 10 times bigger. But once that's all done on the first night, I always want to make sure that people let their guards down, they let their hair down, they don't take themselves too serious. And I find that on day 2 and 3, that strengthens the connection so much because people don't go from just like attendees at an event. They build such strong friendships and bonds that come out of it.
The way you put everything for us in terms of venue, activities and everything, honestly, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
For me, when I buy masterminds, it's the whole idea behind it. It's, you know, meeting people that are above where you are.
Yep.
So for you guys, the Iman's team, obviously you're way above us, but I'm learning from you. But the thing that I learn the most is when I talk to guys that are slightly above me.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm getting from them. So obviously Jason, Iman, yourself, Luis, everyone, it's like high level of knowledge and I'm getting a lot from it. But I'm getting insights and little things that I can work on right now from the guys that are at the event as well.
The reason I joined, like, I'm not even in info. So for me, at an early stage of my entrepreneurship career, I identified the value discrepancy between what it costs me to get into these sort of rooms versus what I get out of it. Whether it's a direct return financially or just an insight that helps build my skill set, that builds value and perpetuity in the future. So I joined to kind of hopefully get more clarity on not only a strategic exit, how I should position myself from, you know, strategically within the business side of things as well as personally, right? The differentiator between the many events that I've gone to prior versus this one was, you know, a lot of them have guest speakers and that are kind of internally or vertically integrated within the company. So it's like a sales pitch, every single guest speaker, right? As opposed to, you know, what I found extremely interesting and valuable with this mastermind was, you know, there was raw data, there's raw overall strategy, internal, data in kind of perspective from within your guys' company. And you guys just articulate it just how it is.
I've been watching Iman for, past 3 years, buying his stuff, and I saw that it works really, really well. And then I got a chance like 2 years ago to basically participate in an auction for a dinner with Iman, and it amazed me, his know-how and how he approaches everything and so on. So I decided I will go to the AFL or Quantum now, and then basically to the Mastermind, and here I am. It's like a combination of vacation, meeting friends, and getting new information from high-level people, which is exactly what I'm looking for. This event, especially in Cape Town, the location is great. Plus, what I really like is I'm the type of guy that's applying the things immediately, right? So after the first UK Mastermind, I just got back and we applied everything, and now it was our 6th event this year.
Amazing.
And compared to the Czech market, how big it is, we are killing it right now. So I'm super grateful to be here and see the insights from the last event. I was writing a lot of notes and I made a lot of changes already to the plan that we had for January. So I'm just applying everything that I'm learning here.
My rule is generally I don't want to spend more than 5 minutes and ideally 3 minutes when I introduce the product, so that time I get to the price anchor and then starting to drop the price.
Okay, we spend way more time there. I mean, that's also changed the game for us. Like what you always say, like you drop the price and then you drop the bonuses.
Then you add the bonuses,
Yeah, so it's like, because when you first drop the price, everybody's gonna say no, and like the bonuses, like
then you get them back to yes. Nobody will test this, but I guarantee you would see the same drop off if you did the following. Did a price reveal and it was $1. Some people are just looking for a sense of completion. They're not buyers, but they're looking for a place to leave and feel like they completed the experience. And seeing the price gives them the satisfaction of a completed experience. But that drop off occurs not because of price, but because it's a finish line. People will leave at $1 even, so it's not the price that's making them leave. It's so like, okay, now I can feel complete, that my experience is over with. There's no open loops for me because price is an open loop. Until I know what it is, it could be anything. Now that I know what it is, I'm going to leave. So I would rather risk losing audiences to gain the psychological effect of we're almost going to buy but didn't, and now I added this thing. Will you buy? Maybe not. Now I added this thing. Will you buy? Okay, some of you will. Now I added this thing. Now you have to buy. Because you were almost going to buy when you saw this much, and now you see this much. That's the play,
Good afternoon. My name is Mel. I'm going to be one of your range officers this afternoon. One thing about the firing range, I need you guys to pay attention because firearm safety is very important. So listen to us. We know what we're doing. We're trying to keep you guys safe. If you know anything about firearm, it's fine. We probably know more than you. I've spent 7 years in the Middle East. I know every type of firearm, but we're going to show you how to have fun today. It's about having fun. So please listen to us. Very important to keep everybody safe. In your shoulder, cheek on here. You can close your left eye. See the scope, there's a red dot. The dot must be in the middle of your scope. You got it? Yeah. Easy to shoot, 10 rounds, your own time, normal breathing.
It was good. It was difficult getting used to it, but it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
There we go. Well done. Nice shooting.
That's an angry man there, bro.
My ego got damaged today.
Why is that?
I couldn't hit a target to save my life out here. Okay, aiming right at the thing, shooting at the floor. Like an instructor goes up, he goes.
Don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah.
Tighten the shoulder, move your head back slightly. Head back, yes. Fire in the hole!
What the hell? Oh my god! Are you joking? Pick up on the He said you'll hear this.
Let's go find Iman, see what he's up to. Man likes to disappear into the shadows sometimes. Hello.
What up, bro?
What up?
You don't have a suit?
This is a suit.
Bro, that's not a fucking suit, bro.
No,
Where's your suit?
I couldn't fit a suit, bro.
Bro, you're kidding.
I swear.
It's black tie, bro.
It's not black tie.
It is black tie.
It's not.
Go look at the brief. It's black tie.
No, I swear, everyone knows it's not black tie. You could just wear it without a tie.
Oh, bro, fucking hell. Thank God, bro. None of my shit fits anymore. Thank God, bro. Look at this, bro.
I know none of your shit fits. That's why I'm wearing this Loro shirt.
So I've been to conferences, marketing, ClickFunnels Live, stuff like that, where it's like these big rooms, big event centers, never anything that's small group, unless it just so happens to be a couple people in a room, but never like a structured one. So London was the first. That was interesting. Yeah, me and a business partner both went, and up till 4 in the morning both nights, and hanging and talking with people that are having the same problems. That's kind of the biggest thing that I saw. The agenda itself was very interesting because Iman is essentially player coach. So I like to give it like to the different info coaching masterminds, and everyone knows, you know, the names, right? But there's essentially one that's very sales focused, there's one that's very ads focused. Then Iman's is margin, right? So profit, worldwide talent, organic, like events driven, right? So he does these. I mean, the last one was right off the back of his biggest launch at that time. And then they did another event, right? And then this is right after that. So he real-time shares all that, which is super cool. That's what you want in, at least in my opinion, that you want in one of these masterminds or these mentors or people you pay. So like literally Jason, Luis, Iman, like your guys' whole team, right? Player went on the field and did a $16 million launch, and then coach 2 weeks after that. Like this isn't like, oh, we did this thing 5 years ago and we still sell how to do it. And we actually make all of our money teaching you how to do it because we no longer do the main thing.
I've always noticed that the next breakthrough in business doesn't come from like some major course or like some consulting that like gives you the full strategy. It's typically like 1 or 2 golden nuggets, right? You get like 1 or 2 golden nuggets and then it makes all the difference for your business. And so with you guys, I noticed that you were running like these massive challenges, and obviously you're really, really big on YouTube as well. And so I'm in the social media space, but more on like written content. So Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and we're helping clients with like lead generation via those platforms. But I didn't have YouTube down by any means. And so I thought like, okay, it's quite literally a no-brainer to join something to get a slight edge from someone who's doing it at like 10x or even bigger volume than you. I think as business owners, when you're at a 7 or even 8-figure level, like the smart way to think through it is like what can just give you a tiny bit of an edge. So for me, that was like the main reason I joined, is because I wanted to get the edge or learn from the lessons that you guys were learning, so I didn't have to make those mistakes myself. Just generally though, I think the balance between having networking plus learning plus also doing like different types of activities that you otherwise might not do, I think it's super cool, right? Because I think you bond better with people when you go through a shared experience.
100%.
And so I feel like here, the time to actually making friends as well who are on a similar level to you, who you can learn from and who you can also grow with and share like advice with. I mean, some of the best stuff you learn, and you guys are amazing, but some of the best stuff you learn is from people in the room.
100%.
And that's how it works at this level, right?
I had the opportunity to meet many people with same ambitions, same goals, and you know, have the opportunity to talk with Iman, with Loom's founder, and all of those guys right there. You know, I learned a lot of new skills, and this is unbelievable to me. Yes, trust me, it's not just for online business, this mastermind. I think wherever you learn, you can apply to every single kind of business you have, because you know, there's so many strategies, and that's why I'm here, and I'm so grateful to be here.
So I was debating keeping these last 2 clips in because these are 2 of, we actually had more guest speakers, but these are 2 of our guest speakers at Quantum, as I said, personal friends of mine. I was like, do I put this out? Because some of this stuff is so valuable. So I decided there's so much private stuff that of course, like I'm never gonna put public my friends' like private business information or their financial standing. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that will never see the light of day. And of course I get approval from all my friends, you know, regarding putting this public. But I thought, you know what, from dozens of hours of private conversations between people at Quantum, between the public presentations, you know, not only in the main room, we did them in little nooks and crannies, and there was, you know, groups of 5 people speaking here and masterminding here and 12 people there. Like, there's so much recording of what happened at the event that only stays for quantum clans. I thought, you know what, let me put out 10 minutes of Guillaume's conversation and 10 minutes of Shahed's conversation. And maybe for some people this might be a little too advanced, but I thought I'd keep it in here. Let me know in the comments if you actually would have preferred not to see this stuff, but like, it's very rare that you see an unfiltered, no bullshit, because as I said to you prior, one of the reasons I don't really like to go speak at events or this, that, is I feel like when you go speak at certain events, you have to keep a certain level of professionalism, or there's a lot of things you can't say, or there's like, you kind of have to put on an act, whereas at our events, like these, as I said, these are my personal friends, and they know that nothing confidential would ever leave the room, and they know that they can just be very free and honest and open, and I don't know, that's just the way that we are at all of our businesses, and just the way I like to be in life in general. So I thought, you know what, it's very rare that you see someone who bootstrapped their way to a multi-$100 million company in Guillaume's case, or Shah, who literally sold his company for $1 billion. So with that being said, let me give you just 10 minutes of a 90-minute insane conversation with Guillaume. This guy is an absolute savage. So I hope that you really pay attention, you focus on some of the stuff he's saying.
Where do you see the state of the software market in going into 2026? And what do you think the real moat is? Because I guess there is no sort of technical moat anymore. A lot of those barriers have been broken down.
Yeah, so basically like my vision is that the trend that we see today is that AI can pretty much like replace some developers, or at least like enhance them. I don't think we're at a stage where you can really like do software if you're not an engineer. You can do stuff with Lovable, and we've seen like a lot of platform, but the reality is like the toughest part of any SaaS companies, and I think you've seen it also, it's never like to build the software, it's actually like to scale it and maintain, and this requires like still a lot of engineers to do so. But what I'm seeing though, it's like everyone is focusing, you know, on what AI can do, and how AI will replace the workforce. And so a lot of people are focusing on, let's say you take a sales rep, and then you're thinking like, okay, how can I replace, for example, sales prospection only with AI? And everyone is focusing on this. But I think like the biggest, if software is something interesting to you, and if you are like into AI, which I think everyone should, the biggest opportunity for me, it's a lot more in the work that wasn't, doable before. So typically right now the full focus is on tasks that people are doing, because typically we know that a sales rep is going to cost you maybe 80K or 100K per year. So if you can replace that person with AI, you're like saving money, or at least this is how you can price your product. The reality is like we're far from automating like people's work completely. However, it opens like whole new markets. So for example, if you take pharmaceuticals, you have like hundreds of thousands of research like per year. So scientists, whenever they look at things, they're going to maybe look at like top 50 of the compounds that have been researched, and they're going to miss like on the 95,000 because it takes too much time. AI can really help for that. Or if you take, for example, lawyers in the US, they will never like go on cases where they can earn maybe like 5 or 10K. It's too cheap, you know. But right now with AI, you can do like a lot of the stuff, that wasn't affordable before. You can replace it. And I think like 2026, we're going to see a lot more of companies focusing on tasks that you did not do for your business just because it was either too time consuming or not cost effective. But now that can be done through AI. And I think this is where the biggest opportunity is. Maybe I can go back to the first day of Lemlist so you understand how we grew the company, because we were in a very competitive market. When you launch a software, what you want to do is raise funds. So I went to see like 20, 30 VCs, investors, and I tried to raise money, and they look at me and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was like, okay. So I just decided to do like what I could, which was use my own product to do sales prospecting. So instead of trying to target customers who are usually like heavily targeted by sales prospecting message. So if you take, like head of marketing, head of sales at like larger companies, they receive like so many messages that it's hard to cut through the noise. I decided to focus only on entrepreneurs and SaaS entrepreneurs who just got started. That way, I knew like that they loved the product, that they were going to be like good beta testers, etc. But the issue with it is the reality when you target very small businesses is that 90% of them are going to fail, which means that your churn eventually is going to be huge, because not because you don't have a good product, but because the business you're targeting, they just run out of money, go out of business, etc. So for me, for many years, I was like, I need to kind of like work against the mass. So I need to help them become successful. I need to only have the 10% who succeed. But in the end, it really like didn't work. And I was looking eventually like because you can grow a lot for a long time and have a high churn. So typically, I think it took us around like 3.5 years to go to 10 million in annual recurring revenue, fully bootstrapped. And we were growing maybe like between 20 and 30% months over months. But eventually the churn rate was like so high that we started to hit like a plateau. And the company wasn't growing anymore. And at that time, I was looking at all our cohorts, and I was trying to find, like who are the people who don't churn. And I started interviewing people who don't churn, people who are churning, trying to understand why. And what I realized that it was never about the product. It was never about like the product, the features that we don't have. Or of course, you can always find stuff to improve, and this is the beauty of software. But eventually, you need to focus on the people who see the most value whenever they're using your product. And for us, that was like sales teams. Because the reality, and there is also like a reasoning behind it, it's like whenever you're using the product as a founder or as a first sales rep in a company, it means that you haven't really proven that your company works. It's just the beginning for you. However, when you have like 3, 4, 5 sales reps, it means that you already know how to sell. Otherwise, you won't have like that many sales reps. So for us, it was kind of like the light bulb moment. And whenever we started to really focus on sales team and go a little bit up market, it totally changed. And I think something also interesting is like whenever you create your company, if down the line your goal is to sell it, you truly need to optimize it towards like retention. Because what it means in simpler terms, whenever your net retention is above 100%, it means that even if you stop having new customers, your company will keep growing. So for an investor, whenever they see like a yearly retention of 110% or 120%, it means that their investment continues to grow, even if you stop acquiring customer. And that's super exciting. So whenever you look at like all the companies right now that are being traded publicly, they are over-indexed on the retention and a lot less now on the growth.
So it's actually very interesting that Guillaume mentioned net retention, because one of the stats at WAP right now that I am the most excited about is that trailing 12 months, our NRR is at 140%. That is insane. Just to give you context, that means that if we don't let anyone else into the platform in the past 12 months, like looking at the data from the past 12 months, our company still would have grown 140%. So yes, January was another record-breaking month for WAP, $240 million in GMV. And apart from that, I think we had 250-ish thousand businesses sign up in January. So if you're ever curious, like, what is my business? What's my ecosystem? It's very simple. We work with the biggest people in the space at Quantum. And the reason we have Quantum is we basically want the people who are on WAP to continue to make more money. That contributes to that net revenue retention number of 140%. Basically, to make it very simple, we want the people who are making a lot of money on WAP to make even more money in 2026 and even more money in 2027 and even more money in 2028. I want the successful people to succeed even more, which is why at consultant.com, we help the top people. On the flip side, of course, we want more businesses to sign up. So from that 250-ish thousand businesses, that doesn't mean that these are all massive, huge companies. When a new merchant signs up, that also contributes to that. So I want more people to get involved, get started in the space. So if you were actually ever curious, like, what do I actually do for a living? It's very simple. I own a very large stake to be a co-owner in WAP, and that business is continuing to grow. And I own a consulting firm called consultant.com, which basically consults and advises the people who will use WAP. So very simple. We're owners in the infrastructure, and we are the owner of the top consulting firm for the people who engage in the space. It's about as simple as that. It's like if one of the co-founders of Shopify also had a consulting firm where he helped e-commerce businesses, because he's like, hey, if people who are making money in e-com, like the big dogs, can make even more money, well then of course that means that Shopify becomes more valuable. And if I can get more beginners, let's say for example with dropshipping, if I can get more beginners involved in e-com in general, then once again that also grows the value of Shopify. So imagine that, except that's what I do with WAP, and that's what I do with consulting. Marry the two together. And yeah, that is basically my entire net worth, my entire life. It's what I love more than anything else on earth, what I've dedicated my life to. And even though it feels like a lot of people want to run away or hide from being involved in the space or pretend that they do something that they don't, like, this is what we do, and we are the best in the world at it for a reason. But let's get back to the talk. I just thought it was very interesting that in public markets or even private investors are looking at, if a company has 110% or 115% net retention, that's like insane. That's like makes the company so valuable. And right now in the past 12 months, we are at 140% for Wall. That's insane.
By the way, when did you step away as CEO?
In January this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So wait, so what does it involve being a chairman? Like, I know you said mainly you're looking at companies to acquire.
No, in reality, it's like, I think it's a lot easier to work on strategy when you're not in the day-to-day of the business. Because when you're in day-to-day, I think when you're a founder, you want to solve like problems. So whenever you see something, you either hire someone like to do it or you help like solving it. And for us, we were serving essentially like different personas. So we had a lot of lead generation agency, a lot of like growth marketers, some founders, and some sales teams. So you want to help all of them, but they might have like different use cases. And I think where you're in the trenches, it's a lot harder to make like bold decisions. Whereas when I'm outside of it, I just look at the numbers and I make the call. So I'm like, if the team, even the CEO is saying like, hey, maybe we should go and try to find like this kind of customers. I'm like, is this our like main focus? And it's just like so easy, to do it. But when you're in the trenches, I think it's quite hard. So that's like one thing on the strategy. The M&A side is important. Right now we're at a stage where there are about like 10% of the companies that is owned by our employees. I own around 70%, and the growth equity fund who acquired like 20% of the company in 2021. So it's gonna be like maybe 4 or 5 years since we did like that transaction. For 4 years now, and 5 years next year. So what you want to do, because we gave equity to the people, it's a liquidity event. So a liquidity event can be obviously like selling your company fully or just doing like a secondary. And for us, I think next year we want to do like a liquidity event, so I can turn like some people in my team, like turn them into millionaires. And to do so, you need to obviously like work with bankers, work with different funds, meet people, etc., etc. So that's also part of my day-to-day job. And then because we acquired also other software, I need to make sure that they also grow. So a company we acquired a few years ago, they were a bit less than 1 million in annual recurring revenue. Now they're at like 5.5. The company we recently acquired just after the acquisition, I think now they almost doubled. So in just a few months. So all these things, and you were talking about what's like the greatest moat that you can have. And I think distribution is something that everyone should work on. I think you're the perfect example. I mean, you have like a massive distribution and you've done it like perfectly with an awesome team. And I think like when you have distribution, it can really be game changer.
So now I'm going to share a private conversation with Shah, who is the co-founder of Loom. Loom sold to Atlassian in an all-cash deal for $975 million. So just shy off $1 billion. But whatever, for the sake of this video, we'll say it was $1 billion sale. But what's more impressive actually was the fact that it was all cash. It's unfortunate. I think a lot of times people online don't understand what goes into these sales, and they don't understand term sheets, and they don't, they just see the headline number, but they don't know how to look beneath the surface. So all of that to say that Loom had a very clean sale. And I can tell you, as someone who's been using Loom for 8 years, I tell Shaw all the time, I'm like, bro, I owe you the world, because Loom was so useful for me back at the beginning of my agency days. I used it all the time. And all in all, Shaw is such a smart, humble individual, super crazy connected. In fact, I remember we were having a conversation, I think it was on the second night at like 4 a.m. in the morning, just catching up on some life stuff. I was telling him about one of the companies that we're taking a stake in. And he's like, yeah, I know this company, I know this founder, great company, XYZ, but this company just did their last round at a $700 million valuation, which in my opinion and his opinion is very frothy. And he was like, well, 2 of my ex-Loom engineers actually just spun off and basically created a competitor for this, but they're pre-revenue and I guess kind of pre-product, or at least in its final form. And in that moment, he put us in a WhatsApp group chat. And these sort of moments are where you make millions, sometimes even tens of millions of dollars, because I would have never known about this company. Also, to be honest, I don't know how keen they would have been for me to invest without that personal introduction and that personal praise from Shaw. So this is the sort of stuff that happens all of the time at these quantum events. Like there's just so many wicked smart people in the room together, and there's so much business that goes on, like stuff like this. So yeah, genuinely, I cannot speak more highly of Shaw. He's such an amazing gentleman, and I'm so grateful that he comes to Quantum Mastermind, stays for 3 days. He'll be up until 4 or 5 a.m. sharing wisdom and knowledge. Like where do you get that? Having someone who sold their company for $1 billion just like there that you can speak to at like 5 in the morning, and not on like some weird paid speaker kind of vibe, like literally as like an associate. But anyways, I'm rambling now. Let me go ahead and play a tiny bit of his 90-minute presentation where he's shared so much behind the scenes stuff. It was insane.
Yeah, I think the Loom story has been documented in places before, and you guys can do your research and your digging. So I want to kind of cover some things here today. Maybe you've never mentioned anywhere before or never talked about before. I think in your world, there's so many things that people know or are aware of, whereas maybe in our world, it's totally foreign. So imagine you're speaking to your younger brother and he wants to get into this space. What are some words of wisdom and like big pitfalls to avoid and places where people try to screw you in your side of the world? Give us like an actual insight into your world, into raising, into what an exit looks like, into what the day-to-day looks like, into some of the worst parts of that world.
Oh man, it's a good question. So I feel like there's a lot of anecdotes that we can, pull from. So Loom was a 10-year journey, and I just to give some context, coming into starting Loom, I had a role in between being a product designer and starting a company. I was working in venture capital. I was an analyst at a VC firm. It was one of the largest VC firms in Southern California at the time. And I spent about a year there. I was supposed to be there for 3 months. I spent a year there. I built up this network with really impressive investors. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to go and start a company one day. And I want to like raise capital from you guys. So I honestly thought it'd be super easy. I was like, okay, I'm like leaving this job. I'm starting this new company, got my co-founders together. We put together a deck and I start emailing the investors that had promised to back my next thing. And I remember we had sent 77 or 78 emails to all these people that we knew. And I think it was like somewhere around like 70 of them didn't even bother responding after several follow-ups. So that was like immediate heartbreak, immediate reality check. It's like, people actually don't give a fuck about you. And then learning that was like, obviously it took a very long time for us to realize. But then there was like, I think another 6 individuals who responded, but they're like, not right now. We want to see more traction, yada, yada, yada. And you live in this market now where you kind of see all these headlines about companies, less than 2 months old, getting these like unicorn status valuations. And everything you read in the press is like, designed for the press. So founders go out, they raise a ton of capital, they want to make headlines because it helps with recruiting. And then you realize that like under the surface, the company is just like not what it really is. So there's like actually a lot of fraud that takes place in Silicon Valley. People like claiming a certain figure is ARR, but don't really understand how ARR works, don't understand how churn works, don't understand how the quality of a customer works.
So real quick, just on that, because I'm sure you guys see it every time you open Twitter, as you said, there's a new raise and a new, big headlines. And, you mentioned that most people don't know how it works. So like, give us like some of these things that if you're not in the world, you wouldn't understand when there's this big headline, like the discrepancy between reality and...
Yeah, I mean, so we obviously live in a very different time now. 10 years ago in 2015, I remember going into 2016, the market had kind of calmed down. Investors were less likely to invest in new companies. They wanted to kind of keep reserves to fund their existing portfolio. So it took us, I want to say, close to 9 months to raise $600,000. And then that was like our pre-seed round, right? And that was done at, I think it was a $4 million valuation. You don't hear about $4 million valuations anymore because the market now incentivizes a $40 million valuation for like 2 people who drop out of Stanford. So obviously the markets have, and the times have changed, and AI has made things a lot easier. It's made things far more, it's easy to become profitable because there's just so much money in the market where people want to play with these tools. They want to try it out. There's always a new code gen or image gen or UI gen tool that's always being released. So you see a lot of these charts going from like, okay, there's like no revenue to then there's like $100,000 a month to now there's like $1 million a month. And people raise off of that hype, right? So you're constantly seeing people on Twitter, at least in my world, if you follow people in startups on Twitter, you'll see everyone will always make the claim that they're the fastest growing company. They're the fastest to get to $1 million in revenue. They're the fastest to get to 10 million in revenue. They're the fastest to get to, whatever metric there is. So there's obviously a lot of noise in the market, and there's, you're probably seeing, there's far more people today who are like making these like Hollywood styled kind of production, high production value, like fundraising announcement videos. And fundraising announcement used to just be you send a PR out and you pray someone picks it up and writes about it. And then you get this spike in traffic and it goes right back down. And now people are spending 6 figures on just announcing that they raised $1 million. So it's like, how much money actually went to the actual video itself? And how much time did you spend on that video? So there are a couple things that are quite lopsided now. But I think, for a lot of people here, when you look at software and startups, right? Because it's software from the outside is a very, fascinating, industry to be in because the margins are really good. It's sustainable. It's repeatable. You could build a product once and sell it and people will pay every month for it. But then when you get into well, how do I get my first 100 customers? And then, that's where people get lost in this trap of I just have to stand out constantly. And, I have to be like the rest of the crowd. I have to spend money to make money. And that's often true. But now it's you're spending money in all these areas that actually don't matter, right? You're spending 3 months of your time, you're hiring, a cast to announce your fundraising. And now you've just wasted $50,000 in 3 months of your time when that time could have been spent building a product and actually getting customers, going out there, knocking on doors. And, I think the one thing that it's the reality of startups is, especially in the early days, you have to do things that obviously, there's a famous saying of do things that don't scale. And what does that mean in practice? You want to go in to a coffee shop the way that, I remember Vinay and I walked into this Phil's Coffee in San Mateo, California, and we just took our laptop and we would annoy the shit out of people there. And we'd just be like, hey, this is our product. We'll buy you coffee if you could use our product and just give us feedback in real time. How do you see this working? And where do you think you could use this tool? And we would do that every day repeatedly until we got feedback from people from all different personas, different industries who were using the product. So I think, there's a lot of, I would summarize by saying there's a lot of noise out there. Don't believe in the hype. It's still very fucking hard to build a company that, gets to 10,000 customers, 100,000 customers. But when you do kind of find early signs of product market fit, that's when you really want to, put more money towards growth.
So how long did it take for you to find product market fit? How many adjustments did you
So from incorporation to early signs of product market fit, I would say is probably about 14 months. And we thought it would have been much faster. And I think, I would say it's actually a lot harder in this market to find product market fit because you have this false reality of what product market fit might be. If you get, if you launch a tool today and, people start paying for it immediately, and we talked about this, over the last 48 hours, the quality of a user, the quality of a customer has to be high. Otherwise you have this insane churn, but then you still have a lot of people signing up and paying for the product on the, at the top of the funnel. And then everyone churns after 30, 60 or 90 days. That user is not a quality user for you. So it gives a lot of founders this false hope that okay, we've achieved product market fit because people are paying for our product, and let's go out there and let's raise capital and let's just put more fuel to the fire. And that's, I'm sure a lot of you know the leaky bucket issue, right? Within the funnel, if you have as many people or as close to as many people falling out of the funnel as they are entering the top, you have a leaky bucket issue. But it's very easy to kind of avoid that and just say, we're just going to continue doubling down on our top of funnel without actually fixing the retention part of your product.
So on the road to $1 billion exit, whether you feel comfortable sharing in your personal situation or what a standard situation would look like between 2 or 3 co-founders, between multiple different raises, what does dilution look like? Because I'm sure, as people see oh, they sold for $1 billion. Great, they're all billionaires. It's well, that's not exactly how it works. So I said, whether you're comfortable sharing in your own situation or what a normal situation would look like between 2 or 3 co-founders, what's the reality of that?
When we started the company, we're all, equal shareholders. We had 33% of the company. And then when you raise your first round of financing, the way it works is you set aside an employee stock option pool, roughly 10%. And that obviously comes out of our share. And then every financing, you kind of top up your employee stock option pool. So we raised a pre-seed, seed, Series A, B, B+, and C round. Collectively over the history of the company, raised about $230 million. And, our goal at Loom was to not necessarily, prioritize for dilution. It was really to prioritize for control of the board and the number of board seats. So even through our acquisition, we had, founders retain control of the company. So we had full veto rights. We had 2 board members one from Sequoia and one from Kleiner Perkins. And then we had 2 board observers. And we also had what's called a 1x liquidation preference. And that's where things get really hairy. If you don't understand how liquidation preferences work, you could basically sell a company for $1 billion and walk away with essentially nothing.
So this is so important to understand dilution and liquidation information preference, and so many people don't understand this. And as I said, they see just the top headline numbers and they don't understand that there's so much that goes into it. Now, once again, of course, there's a bunch of stuff that we're not going to put online, and it's meant to be just private information that was kept private for that room specifically. So we won't get into specifics here, but like, I implore all of you guys, just do a bit of research on what this stuff means, and whether you intend on ever selling your company or not selling your company. I just think that there's, as I said, people love to talk about the headline numbers and the big this and the big that, and they don't understand that when you sell your company, there's a lot of things that go into it, especially when it's VC backed. So I thought I'd really just commend Shah here for talking about this stuff and being open about this stuff. Now, of course, when you sell your company for $1 billion, you still walk away making sure that your kids never have to work again, right? Like, everyone involved in Loom did incredibly well, but I'm just saying, sometimes people see the $1 billion headline number and they think, okay, cool, well, there's 3 of them, so everyone just got a third. Not exactly how it works. So once again, let me know in the comments. I don't know if this is some advanced stuff that maybe doesn't resonate with you, or you'd rather like me keep things simple, but I think it's always cool for you to see, like, maybe if you're in the earlier stage of your career, what are some of the things that start happening once you get into companies that are worth hundreds of millions or billions?
There were a couple of books that we read early on that really helped us understand the venture landscape. One was called Ventured by Brad Feld. And that taught us everything we need to know about like how dilution works, how fundraising works. And the book's still like a gem in the industry. High Growth Startups, also a great book. But dilution, for us, what ended up happening was I think we had about 250 employees around the time of the acquisition. So the first, I would say roughly 10 to 15 employees all became millionaires as a result of joining the company. So there's equal incentive, especially being an early hire, not just a founder, but an early hire of a fast growing startup to make generational wealth as well.
Tell them what you were telling me yesterday about DoorDash.
Oh yeah. So there's a funny story. So Iman and I were just kind of like talking about, like missed opportunities in our careers, and him on the investing side, me on the joining side. So before, I'd got with my co-founders to start Loom, I was a product designer, and I remember someone had submitted my portfolio on YC's network, and there's this little startup out of Stanford called DoorDash looking to hire their first employee as a designer, because all the founders were engineers. And I was like, food delivery, this thing sounds like really stupid. Like, I'm gonna like, go join a VC firm. And so when DoorDash went public, I was like, dude, that's like such an incredible journey. What a missed opportunity on my part. I was so wrong about this. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should do the math. Like, if I had joined DoorDash as employee number 1, how much money would I have made? And it turns out I would have made as much money selling Loom than I would have joining DoorDash when they IPO'd. So the law of compounding, the law of like high growth stage startup. I mean, and you're kind of seeing this even today, right? Like with OpenAI, a lot of the early employees have effectively become billionaires on paper. So, if you like spend enough time in Silicon Valley or in software, you will like have very similar anecdotes to this. And it's just like, you laugh at it. You talk about it at 3 a.m. as you're smoking a cigar and, try to move on from it. So yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll add on the dilution side is I think, I don't remember the exact figure of where we were at the time of exit, but, I would say we were generally like, above average in terms of like how much we had gotten diluted. And there's like this like unwritten rule of law where like in startups, the way that venture investors value your company is they typically want about 20%. You roughly dilute yourself between 15 to 20%, 22 plus higher if you're, not growing as fast as they would want you to. And that's roughly the dilution that gets taken from the company during a fundraising event. So we raised, several times. And obviously, as you prove out the business model, you dilute yourself far less. But I mean, I would say all 3 of us walked away quite happy.
Well, there we have it. Those are some of the business updates from the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks. We have our new consulting office. We have our wallet plaques. It was amazing being able to speak to a room of savages about our wallet payment infrastructure and really strengthen our ties here in the Middle East, because of course with UAE being my primary residence for the past 6 years, I see the growth here every single day. So as I said, it was amazing speaking to a room of such bright, talented individuals. And then finally, you got to see a small sneak peek, a small little insight as to what our quantum masterminds look like. And bear in mind, this is some of the more broad general advice. We get into some super nitty gritty stuff, and then our clients go away and apply that before the next event. I mean, like literally one of our clients messaged us a few days ago that he applied everything specifically that we taught in our last quantum mastermind, and then went on to have his first €1 million week. And by the way, that was only about from like 150K in ad spend. So I think the net, he probably made about 750,000 euros in net profit from that week. So yeah, sometimes I'll like get an update on our clients in Quantum. I'm like, we make our clients so much money, it's actually sickening. But honestly, I'm happy. WAP's growing, everyone's making more money, industry's growing. Like, I am so excited for 2026. I've never been more excited, more just like, honestly, even more hungry going into a new year. Like, I think maybe I'll talk about this in one of my other videos, but this year I'm more committed to greatness than I've ever been. And I think what we've done so far in our career has been commendable and respectable, but I am so far away from where I think we could be and should be. And I think that there's so much more work that individually me and also our companies need to do. This year especially, I'm just really committed to greatness, and I'm really committed to stepping things up. And I guess I'll leave you with this as a last final message. As you watch me on this road and this journey to hitting this massive goal, I want you to understand that we truly are in the same place. I can tell you right now that I am hungrier than I've ever been. I can tell you right now that I have more, like I feel like I need to prove to myself and the world. And I can tell you that I feel the least relaxed, or like the least like comfortable I've ever felt. So if you have that feeling that you're destined for more, if you have that feeling like you're not where you know you could be in life, if you feel like you haven't arrived at your destination, like, I want you to know that I feel that too. I've been an entrepreneur for a decade now. It's been a long road. There was a period after 3-4 years of a lot of work where I kind of took my foot off the gas for a few years. I think from 2019 to like 2021, I really was more of like a lifestyle entrepreneur. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually the best quality of life possible. But I don't know, I love the game more now than I've ever loved it. And I wanna be great. And I know this might sound crazy to some of you guys. I don't feel like I'm there yet. And I feel like I can be so much more, and I just don't want to look back with regret. And that's my energy for 2026. I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to accomplish more. I want to leave it all out on the court, and I don't want to look back and have any regrets. So just know that whether you believe it or not, we are so much more similar than you could ever imagine. I'm exactly like you, just trying to figure it out and how to get to that next level and that next stage. So just know that we have that in common. That shared hunger and drive to be more and be better and do more and be the person that we were put on this earth to be. Like, I'm right there with you. So I hope this was valuable. Leave some comments. Last year I was so busy with buying consulting.com and everything that came with that, and then trying to restore it to its former glory, and then everything that went into buying a stake in WAP to become a co-owner, and working with the team to build out our payments infrastructure. And last year I couldn't really focus on content, and I guess I want to say an apology, because I feel like I didn't release the level of content that I would have wanted to and the value of content that I would have wanted to. And for that I apologize. I just generally, I've got so much business stuff going on that never sees the light of day on YouTube. But for me this year, I think we're a little bit more settled and I have a lot more time to commit to it. So just know that this year on the main channel, I've got a vision for what I want all the content and the videos to look like. And it's probably going to be some of the most impactful stuff you've seen on the main channel. On the business channel, I'm back to uploading every single week. And this is really more for our enterprise clients, people who are already super wealthy from the space and want to get even wealthier. And I'm back to uploading weekly super tactical content on there. And in fact, I'm even reviving the extended channel. And most of you guys don't know, but I have an extended channel. And on that extended channel, it was more beginner and intermediate, step-by-step, very educational content. And I'm actually going to be bringing that back and aiming for weekly uploads on there. So with that being said, I'm rambling because I'm just so excited for what's to come for 2026. I love you. I appreciate you, Jenny, from the bottom of my heart, especially those who've been around for the journey for years and years at this point. You and I both are growing up together, learning, becoming better, and I appreciate you for that. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave some feedback in the comments. And as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.